Hello, my name's Elise, or Caffeine and Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about Grand Marche of Full Bloom Lianorn. Lianorn just got a new support unit in DZ-BT-04 for Divines, and I haven't done a video in Lianorn in over a year now, surprisingly. I just haven't had the time to do videos in general. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do a quick little update video on my current Vivace build. And let's go ahead and get right into it. For the ride line, I'm still on the Rorowa ride line. So the grade 1, when he's placed, calls a plant token behind him. And then the grade 2 can retire units, call 2 more plant tokens. I just feel the early rush is still incredibly good, incredibly powerful. You can, however, swap out the grade 2 Rorowa for the intended Lianorn grade 2. To go ahead and get that call from drop. That's still really good. You're not nearly as soul reliant anymore. So you're not really falling behind on that if you do so. And then obviously for the ride line, I'm on the original full March of Grand March of Full Bloom Lianorn, who once per turn, you can counterblast 1 to draw a card, and then you either call a card from hand or discard it. And then when she attacks, you soul blast 1 and discard a card, and you boost with all 3 of your back row. And then if you boost it with 3 back row rear guards, she gets an extra drive, and she restands 2 of them at the end of the battle. Always remember, when you swing, do not boost, do the skill, because if you get sharked on that at tournaments, if you hit like an asshole player. For my grade 3 lineup, it's still pretty small. I am on 4 copies of Marche Fleur, Lianorn Vivace, who puts your Vanguard in the Unison Dress place when she's placed over a Lianorn or something else in the Unison Dress state, which lets you draw a card. And when she attacks in the Unison Dress state while not boosted, she restands every unit on board, and all 5 of her rear guards boost her. And at the end of the battle, if she was boosted by at least 3 units, you can counterblast 1 to restand 3 units and give them 5k and drive -1. And note it says units, so you can restand Vivace herself. And for the only other grade 3 I'm on, I have 4 copies of Resonance Dragon, who, as long as your Vanguard's been boosted at least 3 times this turn, it gets 5k. And then at the end of the battle, it attacked a Vanguard. If there's been at least 5 times that she's been boosted and your Vanguard is Lianorn, you counterblast 1, put her to soul to restand your Vanguard. This is how you get your 7 attack combo turn. And with that being it for grade 1s, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the grade 2s. I'm only on 2 of these also. I'm on 4 copies of the brand new Ethereal Cadence and Slagres, who on place means you can reveal a Lianorn in your ride deck, and as long as you do, or if you're already on a Lianorn, you can counterblast 1 and look at the top 7 for another Lianorn and add to hand. It's just another way to be digging through the deck to find your Marche Fleur. If you end up not finding one, you end up whiffing those 7 cards, you still draw a card, so you're not really losing out on any advantage there. And then, as long as you have 2 or more grade 1s in the back row, he becomes a 15k booster and a 10k intercept. And on 10k intercepts, I'm also on 4 copies of Friendly Broccoli, who on place from hand, as long as you have a token, as long as you have a plant, you can counterblast 1 and draw 1. And then as long as you have a token, he's a 15k attacker or 10k intercept. I'm on both of them just because the bigger guard value is always good. It's always important. Now we get to the biggest section, the grade 1s. I'm on 3 copies of Rosarium Fairy, who this is going to be your main token generator after the Rorowa ride line if they get wiped or anything. Because on place, she can retire another rearguard to call up to 2 plants. And when she attacks, as long as you have a Lianorn or a Granfia, and the opponent's Vanguard is grade 3, you can select a different back row rearguard, and she'll gain its power on top of her own. So it makes one of the biggest plays to do be putting the big numbers on your back row rear guards. That way they're still boosting Lianorn and they're going to different columns, and she's always going to be hitting really big. I'm also on 3 copies of Rhythm of Joy Alentis, who, as long as you're on a Lianorn, she's a 10k booster, but if you're on a Vivace, she's a 13k instead. Technically, as long as you're in the unison dress state, but for now, that's only Vivace. And then at the end of the turn, as long as your Vanguard was boosted at least 3 times, you can retire her to draw a card and countercharge, if you don't have any face-up damage. I'm then on 4 copies of the promo Concert of Many Emotions, Parcea, who, as long as she's placed anytime, any method, except for the battle phase, you can reveal a unison dress card or card from your hand, and as long as you do, or you have a unison dress Vanguard card, you can soul blast one to call a different rear guard from drop. And then at the beginning of main, if your Vanguard is in the unison dress state, you can just put her to soul, which lets you build up your soul back. That's the main reason. Soul is really no longer much of a problem. There's also Amical Main Alvina, who I'm on 3 copies of from BT3, who on place, other than during the battle phase, Energy Blast 3, and you either choose an order card from drop and put into hand, which in some variants that will be important, or you can call a grade 1 or less from drop, which lets you rebuild your board and lets you recycle your Rosarium Fairies. That's the main reason. And they're only at 3 instead of 4. That's the main reason most of the grade 1s are only at 3, because you can recycle them, but they are important enough that you need to be seeing them still. And then I'm only on the single Elmador. I don't think the carbuncles are as important anymore. But on place, whether it's Rearguard or Guardian Circle, you can put 2 cards from your ride deck from soul or drop back to the ride deck. If it's on Guardian Circle, he gets 15k guard like all the cats do, so he's a 20k Guardian. Or you soul charge 2, choose a unit, and give it 5k. Which, again, it's another way to rebuild soul, but you're mainly using Elmador as intercept, or as a Guardian. Then lastly, I'm on 4 regular perfect cards. I'm not on the Sanctitude in this list. Just because I don't think it's necessary. There's not... You're hitting so many times and so big that your guard matchups, the way you need to guard, isn't as important, in my opinion. For triggers, I am on 8 criticals. You don't need it to be the soul criticals. You can use any critical you want for this. I'm just on them because I feel a little bit extra soul is sometimes helpful, but you don't use it that much anymore. You're able to build it up fast enough that it doesn't matter. I'm on 3 fronts because not only is the extra guard important, that becomes a plus 30k to Lianorn or Vivace on her swing. So that makes intercepting and guarding a lot harder. I'm just on 4 regular heals because the effect heals are bad. And then for my OT, I am on Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, Bless Favor. And the reason I'm on Bless Favor over any of the others is non-existent, actually. You can play pretty much any of the OTs in Vivace and be benefiting. But that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please go ahead, just put a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.